to another exciting episode of Headcanon. I'm your much more attractive host, Alex.
And I'm Sam.
And we're going to be talking about Ghost of Tsushima, everybody's favorite game right now. And it's definitely my favorite game right now.
It's weird.
I like it. Why? Why is that weird, Sam?
Go on. No, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I didn't realize my mic was on. Continue.
Well, I feel like this game unintentionally came out at the perfect time because...
Because masks.
Because, actually, yes. But also because I played The Last of Us 2, and I really liked it, but, like, it was so heavy. And to play something...
Yeah.
Like, it's funny, like, I feel like if I had played this before The Last of Us, I probably wouldn't be saying this, but this almost feels like arcade narrative compared to The Last of Us 2.
Sure. No, it totally is. It's everything you're saying I completely jive with and totally makes sense. It's weird because I seem to have had the opposite effect of becoming right off of Last of Us 2 that had such strong like narrative storytelling and such strong characters and like dynamics between the characters,
Yeah.
and I felt that this game did not come like anywhere near that, which is going for different things. It's not a critique on the game,
I agree.
but I think I was maybe a little extra harsh on it because like my gears were already in this like a great example of what character and storytelling can look like, and then go into this just kind of like I was like, okay, we're playing a video game.
Yeah. Killing people in Last of Us 2, like, you actually feel bad doing it. And then to come back to
Sure.
a game where you really are stripping your honor. And that's what this game... we should establish that early on. This is a spoiler cast. We have both beaten the game. We are not interested in sparing any details. If you're listening to this, you either don't care about the narrative or you've already experienced it. But yeah, this whole game, narrative-wise, is about samurais abandoning honor, or at least your character, me, this guy, stripping his honor. And hold on, I have to make this jump. And I liked what they did. I liked the whole like struggle Jin has with abandoning his honor, and really like what do you thought it was?
It's so goddamn rote, man. It's so like just generic, and give a 12-year-old pen and paper and tell him to write a samurai story, and this is what he would write.
God dang, man.
It felt like it was completely uninteresting, totally boring, and didn't jive with like what they were trying to establish themselves as to what they were making in the first place.
I think I know what the difference between us is. You're a Kurosawa fan, right? Like, you've seen those films. I have always meant to watch them, but I never actually got around to it. So, like, other than, like, screenshots and stuff, I don't know, like, what... Because I've read where, like, the director basically said straight out, like, yes, Kurosawa was, like, our biggest influence. Like, like not just general samurais.
Yeah. So, like, so much of before the game came out, and as far as even the trailers they were showing, they were, like, doing everything they could to talk it up to sound like it was going to be... Are you there?
I am here.
Okay, I'm sorry, it got really quiet for a second. Anyways, we'll cut back there. So yeah, so much of, like, before the game came out, of, like, what they were talking about is what you're saying, of, like, they were kind of purporting it to be this very classical film narrative, which are usually more, like, personal stories. They're usually, like, smaller scale than what this is. This movie is much more akin to a... Well, not always small scale, but, like, somewhat. But they're not this.
It's much...
Everything about this game is, like, as far as its directorial style, the story it's telling, it's very popcorn movie, which is fine. It's still a video game. That's, like... I think the expectations set by some of those things they were saying, like, and this game not delivering on those things, gave me a really negative entry point, because I felt very, like, this is not what I wanted.
Yeah.
It's still good. The game's good. I know I probably sound really harsh on it. I do like the game. I think it's the most aggressively 8.0 game I've played in a long time.
8.0? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's good. It does nothing very interesting or unique, but it's good in almost every way.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I really dug the pacing. Like, I think for me, like, I was thinking, like, Way of the Samurai or like
something like that is more akin to what I wanted. Like I wanted a high budget Way of the Samurai.
Yeah, where it's like,
which, of course,
your decisions actually matter more.
Sure, and like it's in one city, you get really intimate with that city, or that town or whatever.
That's true. I mean, really for me, like I was just like, I just want to swing a sword around. Ooh, these look nice, like some juicy, like fruit punch popsicles. I don't know, like
let's look that sword.
I don't know if I want the fruit punch or the Goku swords. I have Goku swords.
I wish you could mix and match.
I know, right? Give me some real customization, not this cookie cutter stuff. But
so I will say probably my first, I don't know, 5 hours at least playing this game, I was really down on it. Mostly not due to the game's fault, mostly because of I wanted a game that made me feel like a Kurosawa samurai character, or not even just specifically Kurosawa, a classical samurai film.
Did you play in Kurosawa mode?
I turned it on to see it.
What?
And what a tacked on little thing they did there. I wouldn't complain about that because they didn't have to do it. It's a cute thing they added, but the fact that like the gameplay is designed around color coding in so many factors, and they didn't work around that, just really highlights the fact that it was like last minute. Let's do quote unquote Kurosawa mode, which I do find. I'm not going to say offensive, but it's getting near offensive that they called it Kurosawa mode, because he was not specifically a black and white director. He did black and white at the time, and then he adapted to color films very, very well.
Yeah, like
that was one of the things he was most known for, is his use of color in film too. So to call it, just call it cinema mode.
Yeah, it was like they
don't call it Kurosawa mode.
Yeah, it was like they didn't understand. Like, oh, Kurosawa mode just means swords and black and white, right?
It comes across for people that are pretty familiar with his work and like that and wanted it. It comes across as just adding keywords to make us want to buy the game.
Yeah,
and we'll just buy it and be like, okay.
I can kind of agree with that, honestly, because I was reading about how like the director of this game made such a big deal about how like we asked the Kurosawa estate and we gave them the game and we were like, please, we tried our hardest to make this as respectable to Kurosawa-san as possible. And they gave us the permission. They gave it to us, damn it.
Yeah, and they didn't really do anything offensive in the game or with the work. I just wish they didn't advertise it to be like that.
Yeah, like
because it doesn't come across at all.
Yeah.
Aside from being set in Japan and being pretty.
Yeah, like
the game is gorgeous, by the way.
It's probably the best looking PS4 game. Best looking. Stop. Let me correct myself. Best looking open world PS4 game. I would say that.
It's. Sure, I wouldn't argue that, but it's the best landscapes.
Die, bear!
I think... Keep in mind, I didn't play on a Pro, so... on a standard PS4, I felt the facial animations were pretty poor.
I wasn't a big fan
just
of
character model... I'm sorry, what?
I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry, buddy. Go ahead. I was just saying that I thought the facial animations were kind of bad, too. Like, I noticed that every time Jin is talking, he, like, cocks his head back,
Sure.
Like, I noticed that every time he kind of has this look like he's, like, looking down at them,
Yeah. So something that I think gives that kind of an unfair advantage that I think makes me a little harsher on it is the fact that we just played Last of Us 2, which that's almost perfect looking, like, as far as facial capture goes. But this game had really pretty landscapes. All the actual character models felt very disconnected to those pretty landscapes to me.
I can agree with that. They could have been a lot better.
And I know not every game, Sucker Punch is a rock star. They're not going to have every dollar in the world, so I can't really hold that against the game. It's just... I wish it were different.
I do really like the costumes. Like, I feel like the way that there's so much, like, customization and, like when I'm riding on my horse and the cape is like flapping in the wind, I'm just like,
yeah.
Like, dude,
I love how whenever he runs his hand through the flowers, whenever you're going through a flower bed, really cool touch.
Oh, I love it.
Although I will say there were some scenes where, like, I would be, how you ride with characters in a lot of story progression missions. and you'll ride next alongside each other, and you'll be talking about some serious shit. I remember a couple of times like they'd be talking about really serious stuff, and Jen would just like lower down and like start running his hand through the flower. And be like, "Really, you're gonna do that now?
Like you're not. Are you listening to me?"
right. Jen's like, "Oh, a pretty flower."
It's like, are you writing a haiku right now, dude? Stop.
You know they weren't invented yet, right?
Stop it.
Thanks, Jen.
We don't know what that is. What is a haiku? Why do you keep?
I think they'll make that in like 5 centuries from now.
I know, and like a lot of reviewers and stuff are like, "Oh man,
look at that dude! What's he doing?"
This guy?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, this is gonna be tough, Sam. I'm just gonna be honest with you. This is what happens when you play stealth, and you actually sneak onto the camps. If I didn't have my stances, this is where I would observe my leader here, and your techniques would come faster, and I had all my stances real early because spoiler alert, guys, spoilers. I'm not spoiling the game, but I'm spoiling the spoilcast. Sam was a huge not fan of the stealth in this game. Like the
stealth was garbage.
He would angrily text me all the time about how much he hates the stealth. It's the worst stealth. Wah! But I thought the stealth wasn't that bad. I used the stealth quite frequently. My favorite thing to do is to sneak up on the leader and use a hallucination dart, and they will literally kill the entire camp because no one can touch their leaders. They're so strong. It's hilarious.
I don't actually think it's like the worst stealth that I've ever played in a video game.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Would struggle to think what that is. But it's maybe the worst stealth I've played. Maybe it's maybe the worst stealth I've played in a high budget video game. The AI is really dumb. It's fine,
Dude,
it's serviceable, but it's nothing more than serviceable to me.
I feel like the AI in The Last of Us 2 wasn't that smart.
You played on super easy.
No,
mode,
I didn't.
Where you
Sam.
put the AI on the easiest
no, I
mode. Yeah, you did.
How dare you?
I played on a harder difficulty than you did.
How dare you?
I assume you must have played on super easy.
No.
Mode. Press L3 and R3.
Okay, hold on. I'm too busy stealth killing the entire base. Hold on. Let me play. This is how Sam plays. He uses.
Dude, yes. It's so smart.
I never do this.
And you know those missions where you had to find 4 people that are tied up or whatever,
yes.
And you just kind of wander around the camp until you find something. Sometimes I would just pop out my little samurai drone and survey the area, find all of them. It was great.
Such disrespect to the samurais all around the world. They're all rolling around in bed.
They didn't exist at this time, so not really.
Oh, I hurt myself falling. I'm a I am the ghost. I wanted. You know what I should have done? My favorite move is the little spin. Where are they, Sam? Where are they?
I don't know.
Hold on, let me use my drone.
Yeah, there you go. Pop your drone out.
Hold on, I'm trying to find it. Where's the last Mongolian? He looks scared. Is something gonna happen? All right, so
good job, buddy.
Thanks.
You really did it. You pressed square.
Thanks. I only play on hard because.
Oh, I played on lethal, so whatever.
Whoa,
bro.
I heard you had to pay $5 to get that mode.
Yes, he got it. Why are you tagging your horse? All right. Anyways,
not my horse.
So let's focus back up.
Yes. So the thing is, you want to take advantage of hurting the Mongols, and the thing is, the horses, they made their choice.
I don't like what you're doing.
Are you okay with this, Sam?
Not really.
I am the ghost. Don't you understand?
The Sly Cooper ghost.
But see, this is the thing. This whole game, I liked the story how every time you backstab somebody, the first 30 times, Jen's like, oh God, oh, why am I doing this? This is so cringe. My uncle's gonna be so pissed. But
the narrative's fine. The narrative, I liked the ending of the game, but that's about it. That's the only story beat that. I mean, everyone knew that was going to happen. It wasn't a surprise, but I thought that there was a little more weight there. Other than that, again, I just found the narrative to be just serviceable with really bad character writing.
I have a very serious personal question for you. Oh,
What's
shit. What'd you do? What was the fate of your uncoat at the very end of the game?
So, let's set it up a little bit, just for the listeners, just a little recap. So at the end, where you're kicked out from the Samurai Club, from the Cool Kids Samurai Club.
Yeah.
And your uncle is like, well, I guess I gotta go kill you now because you're no longer a samurai.
They literally they shut down your lease, dude. They're like, listen, man, you're gonna have to find a new place.
Not only are we kicking you out, we're taking your head, man.
We're killing you and selling your house.
So you have a sword fight with them. Really good fight. That was probably my favorite boss fight of the game. And then you are given the choice after you win to either hit him one more time or let him go because stabbing him 30 times wasn't enough.
What do you mean hit him one more time?
Press X to kill. Make this sword strike matter. Where the other 30 you just did.
Listen, Sam. He was asking you to give him a warrior's death.
Yeah, the whole samurai thing.
Yes.
The whole samurai code.
It was so deep.
Wasn't really happening. You're freezing up here. Oh, you're speeding up. There you go. Okay. All right, you're back to normal. Okay. All right, so yeah, you're given the option to kill or let him go. I almost killed him. I actually pressed X to kill him because I was like, well, he's a samurai. That would be the right thing to do for him. And then it gives you like a little press X again to confirm. And I was like, wait, the whole point of this game is Jin's honoring. He's like, fuck that whole samurai code.
Yes.
So I thought it was more in character and just a better story if he lets him live. So I let him live.
Yes, and like probably my favorite line was when your uncle's like, you have no honor. And then Jin is like, you're chained to your honor, or you're enslaved by your honor.
Yeah.
And like, that was like the perfect, basically like almost like a synopsis of this whole game is like...
Yeah, you mean like because they have that exact conversation like 50 times throughout the game?
Yeah, it's so cool. It's so, like, it's not obvious. Stupid deer!
Alex, why do you hate animals so much?
They're not real, Sam. They're just polygons.
Animals aren't real?
No, these are not real animals. These are make-believe characters.
I don't understand how you have a pet if you think they're not real.
Listen, I bet you don't mind if I do this. Don't let me go. Oh, yeah. Oh. All right, let me go. You know what? The only reason Jin was taught...
This is what happens when you don't kill horses.
This is what happens when you walk the samurai path.
So what, alright, what were some of your favorite things? Like, what were the aspects of the game you liked the most?
Aren't you gonna ask me what I did to my uncle?
Oh,
do you even care?
I did ask you and you didn't answer, so I moved on.
You didn't ask me. You were too
busy.
busy.
Well, you can listen back.
You were too busy making fun of me for killing horses.
Yes, what did you do?
So, man, I regret my decision. Spoiler alert. I regret what I did.
You killed him.
I killed him. And, like, the thing was like, I really struggled. Come here, you stupid deer. You're not going to get away from me.
Alex, focus up.
So, I got him. I really struggled. I went back and forth, and I did it because the whole time I was like, this guy has been a really, really good guy to Jin. He's been a great uncle, and like the thing was, I was thinking, what is he gonna do if I let him go? He's gonna kill himself. He's gonna like literally be like, well, now I gotta do it. Thanks, lazy. And so he was going to, like, seppuku himself right there, I'm sure. So, like, to me, I was like, because he's honorable, because, like, he's actually whatever he's trying to be, I'm going to do it. I'll give it to him. But, like, I totally regretted it because it was like he was controlling me. And,
oh, sure.
Like, I totally wish I let him go. But, I did it, and, like, honestly, like, I teared up a little bit. Like, I had, like, one male samurai tear because I haven't seen a Kurosawa movie yet. And this narrative is groundbreaking to me because I don't know any better, apparently.
But it's not even close. It's just
I've just never seen
as narrative to storytelling. It's so bland.
I've
but
never
if it worked
seen
for you, it worked for you, man.
I've never seen a story about a samurai abandoning the code. I've never seen that.
Well, that's fine. That's just a very bland idea.
Is that a Kurosawa like trope? I've never.
No. It's just a general like anyone could think of that.
But
whatever.
They haven't yet.
It doesn't matter. I don't want to degrade something that you liked.
But they haven't.
What?
But they haven't yet. It's the first. It's because I was like, oh, it's cool. It's Mongols and Japan, and like I got to look up the history because I wasn't like too familiar with it. And history is kind of cool. Like there really was a Ghost of Tsushima, and his name really was Jin Sakai. Yeah, and he really did wear a mask. I'm just kidding, man. He really did play Sly Cooper on PS3. Uh-huh. There was no ghost. Yeah. I totally made that up. Actually, Tsushima was like
constructive.
Tsushima was actually like wiped out, and that's
I thought like Tsushima got obliterated.
It did, and they had like a gallant stand, and the whole point of it, at least the story or the history of it, was that they died with honor. They died defending their land, knowing that they were going to die. And the fact that Jin won't just roll over and die is why he's like a problem to the samurai.
In the first Mongolian invasion, though, there was a ton of like a lot of the people retreated, and there was like a written like histographs of people being like, well, it's better to run than to die.
The samurais, all of them. I mean,
during the first Mongolian invasion, like samurai in this sense wasn't really a thing.
Yeah.
From my understanding. That didn't happen, like, this idea of the super honorable samurai didn't really start to come into place until, like, after the second invasion, whenever everything was peaceful. It was kind of like a thing that rose from peace.
I saw one thing that it said, like, samurais were, like, kind of just, like, a regional thing. Or, I don't know how to describe it, but, like, they said, like, they weren't, like, skilled and they didn't have a lot of armor, but, like, they did have, like, samurai that were just, like, local boys or something.
Yeah, like you had like local. They were like mercenaries.
Yeah, I guess
like
so.
Go from faction to faction.
I guess so. I guess they.
But
they weren't like the honorable tropes that we see, or like
that. Yeah, this whole like the family code of them being like, living purely respectfully and all that. That's fetishization of the time, which is fine. Like that.
Oh, oops!
Didn't jive well with me because it was so expected initially, but I was like, well, whatever. That's just the generic story they're telling. But
I mean,
it is what it is.
To be my honest, whatever you want to call it, was that there were samurai, but I guess because like the video I saw,
I'm not saying there weren't samurai. That was a thing. It's just not this idea of it being like ultra only live honorably.
Yeah, okay, I see.
Never retreat kind of thing. Yeah. Writing haikus before they're invented. All that.
Being poetic.
Using katanas before they were a thing. Also.
Yeah. But like.
There were absolutely poets that were samurai and all that too. There's some base there.
So I guess I do know that like in the first attack, because there were 2 attacks on Tsushima, separated by like 5 or 7 years or something. I know in the first one there was like a last samurai stand, and it was like whoever was the lord of the land, like whoever was their Lord Shimura. I think so, anyway.
I mean, tons of people died, but like I know overall, like there was a lot of retreating there too.
Yeah,
regardless, the game doesn't start off being like this is a true story, so this is just the narrative that the game's telling. It's fine.
Yeah. Wah! Another dead Mongol. And suffering.
So yeah, some other particular highlights you wanted that stuck out to you from the game? Not just narratively, just overall as a video game.
Let me think. Honestly, like after the first half of the game, I felt like nothing could really surprise me anymore. I'm like, okay, invade the base, kill the guys, watch the unskippable cutscene.
Once you figure out the game's loop.
Yeah, and the thing was, I had accepted the loop. I thought it was very relaxing. this is my favorite.
It totally is. I do want to mention real quick about, once you kind of figure out what the loop of the game is, go from point A to point B, general open world loop, it really is kind of relaxing. Like, it's a little brain massage that you can just kind of zone out on and go through pretty landscapes and just press buttons.
Yeah, and like you can just like almost do it second-handedly. Like, you don't have to pay too much attention. And
but it is awfully repetitive at a point.
Yeah, I agree. I'm at that point. I hate straw hats. This is what I do to straw hats. Do you think I can get all three of them in the standoff?
Yeah.
Come on, kid. Oh!
Alex! You haven't played a game before?
Shut up! These are real samurai. Look at that. Did you see that perfect parry? Listen here, you stupid. Come here. Oh! Come here, coward.
So this is a pretty good time to just bring up the combat in general. It's probably, in my opinion, probably the strongest point of the game is just how the combat felt.
Yeah. And I feel like I liked how it wasn't
Throw something.
I don't have anything to throw. Oh, I do. I can throw a Kuna.
Oh no! Let the bears get him.
He's past the... Damn it! Bear, help me! Get him! Bear, no! Bear, no! Oh my gosh. Trying to think of highlights. Honestly, the gameplay loop itself, I would just sit here in the dark and just like liberate camps and probably the tails and the duels were my favorite. Like, I even though I got the most angry doing the duels sometimes.
The duels are great. That's my highlight of the game, just those one-on-one fights. I kind of wish they shied away from the focus on the group fighting and handling the groups, because that gets messy.
Yeah.
And just did more of the duels.
Yeah, the lock-on system leaves a lot to be desired.
You mean by lock-on system, you mean the non-lock-on system?
Yeah, how like Jin's just like, whoever you're walking towards is probably who you want to fight. So I assume you're never gonna back up.
But I definitely had issues where, like, I would just swing at a dog instead of the guy I was fighting, or like, the camera would not reorient itself to whoever I was fighting, and that would get pretty frustrating at times.
Yeah.
Especially on lethal mode, where you die literally a hit, usually. And whatever, like, the camera was the reason for that, it made it almost not worth it. I frankly don't know why I didn't drop it to hard, but...
I'm so glad I didn't play on lethal. When you were talking about it, I was like, game's hard enough. I'm fine.
It's the reason I did really is because the highs are way higher, but the lows are way lower. But like whenever I would go through a fight and not get hit and do it perfectly, I was like, man, that feels really cool.
Yeah.
But just so often the game would fuck you over. Instead of like you losing because of you messed up in a fight, just the camera wouldn't be right, or someone would just hit you from off screen.
Especially if you go indoors, I would always like get killed if I get cornered inside.
Yeah, the camera would get pretty messy inside, too. But the actual swinging the sword and whatever, like, all that usually felt fun. Personally, I thought the stance system was ineffective and just highlighted how video gamey it felt.
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm not against the idea of a stance system. I got excited whenever I saw there was one. But the fact that it all just boils down to... oh, this stance is for shield people, this stance is for spear people, this
is for big boys,
etc. Right.
I like big boys,
and it doesn't actually affect the feel of what you're doing, really. You just like, oh, I connect this with this stance, so I will just switch now and do this instead.
Yeah.
If instead of that, if it was like a little more creative with different like combos and stuff you could do, that would have been really interesting. I just felt like the match stance to break defense of whatever type of character was a little lazy.
Yeah, I know. I hate how like it was just like shield stance, spear stance.
Right.
Like I would have liked it better if there was like, this is your fast stance and this is like your group stance. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe that wouldn't have worked with the game as well.
You would have to, the game would be designed differently, of course, but I wish the game was designed differently.
There was so many...
It wouldn't have to be drastically different.
I agree.
But, like, look at a game like Nioh that has your stance system, and every stance has entirely different combos and, like, a whole plethora of different moves you can do, where in this one it's just press triangle to do whatever you're fighting.
Yeah. square to kick the big boy in the tummy.
Right.
I remember for a while I was trying to just use the big boy stance for a while. Because, like, I really did like how, like, you could kick somebody and then go to your quick slashes, and most people would be, like, knocked back and you could get a few hits, but, like, it's still mostly ineffective. Like, it would just get tedious at times where I'm like, oh, shield, shield. Oh, sword guy, sword. Okay.
Right,
triangle. Square.
Yeah. Again, still fun. I just wish it was a little different. That's kind of my whole thing about the game. It's fun. I just wish it were a different thing.
Yeah. I can't argue with that. I really just, like, man, I'm sad you didn't like the narrative as much as me. Like, I
just thought it was really bland. I thought the characters were very bland. I thought Jin was kind of an asshole.
Jin?
Very self-indulgent.
Well,
he just talks down. He, like, talks down to peasants so, like they're not real people, because they're not. They're assets in a video game, but the characters in the game shouldn't treat the characters like assets in a video game.
What do you mean, Sam? Jin's a nice guy. He's like, help! Somebody has stolen all my rice! And he's like, where'd they go? That way! And then he just sews...
What else are you carrying? What else do you have in here? What are you doing with your life, huh?
He doesn't say that.
I know, but he's intrusive.
Jin would just come up... They would come up to him and be like, my lord, there's a pig farm.
So...
What?
So that's another thing I didn't like about the game, and just the feeling of the world. Everything revolves around you in such an obnoxious way.
Everybody...
Like, you walk into a town, every single conversation the NPCs are having are, like, talking about you as a character and what you're doing. Like, it made it feel so bland, and, again, just so video gamey, which I hate to use that term so much, because it is a video game, but that's, I think you know what I mean.
That's it, but that's what it's like when you go outside and you're a hero. Like, when I worked at the UPS store on Hendricks Avenue, I would walk around and I'd be like, man, the other day he, like, saved me $5 on my shipping. He's, like, the best. I'm not even gonna get into it. I was a hero at my last job, and everybody loved me.
It's true, mate. I just need to be a little more heroic.
I think
and murder horses.
You just need to understand what it's like to be somebody's hero.
Sweet. You always say that, and now I finally know what you mean.
Yes, but like that's what I liked, was that Jin. At first, you're like, yeah, those Mongols are such dicks, man. He splashed his flammable wine on the guy at the beginning and then cut his head off when he was just trying to have an honorable duel. That was, like, so not cool, man. Those Mongols suck. We should do anything. And then Jin's just like, let's poison them. Let's poison. He's just rubbing his hands together. And I remember, even at the time, being like, whoa, Jin, hey, man, why don't you just... I mean, you could just stab them in their sleep. I mean, isn't that... No. I liked how it felt like... I don't know. It wasn't that I wanted Jin to poison the guys, but I did understand that, like, you're gonna lose if you don't poison them. Because, like, Lord Shimura has that moment on the bridge where he sends everybody forward, and the whole time they're like, this seems like a trap, and then they all die on the bridge, and he's like, well, they died with honor, it's fine. And, like, and Jin poisoned the Mongols because he was expecting Lord Shimura to just send another group of guys to their death, just, you know, running head on in without, like, trying to meet the Mongols at their own game, their own tactics. It's like, you see, Sam, it's like the Revolutionary War. Sorry, go ahead. It's like when America beat the British. It's like when America...
So it's the movie The Patriot.
It's better than The Patriot.
It's literally the same story as The Patriot.
No, it isn't, Sam.
Look up the synopsis of The Patriot and compare it to Ghost of Tsushima.
No.
So my note on what you were just saying about, you know, the whole story between the poisoning and all that, like, on paper, that stuff is fine. That's a cool arc direction for the narrative to go. But the way that that's actually portrayed, I guess is the word I'm looking for, was just not as interesting as I think it could have been or should have been. But maybe I'm just being too harsh on it.
Well,
but,
okay. Here's what I think. I felt that the game respected your time, and that was kind of what I meant before by The Last of Us 2. I liked The Last of Us 2. I really did, but I didn't love every second of it. I felt like a lot of it was just kind of filler. That's like, this is kind of like a movie.
I really don't. Well, yes, kind of like a movie, but
and like, you know, most of it was cool, but like you agree, the game felt a little too long, and it felt like
the game was too long, but not for narrative reasons. That was more they were just jamming too much gameplay, especially in the second half.
Yeah, I just felt like with the cutscenes here, they were just like, they just respect your time. They're just like, all right, look, this is what's going on. You know, we need to do this. You know, I can do it this way. Okay, I'll meet you there. Like, they didn't try to dive too deep. Oh, sorry. I'm disappointed that I can't do a diving slam dunk strike on that dog down there.
I mean, yeah, all the narrative is fine, and, like, their pacing was fine. And sure, I never felt like I had my time wasted unless I was purposely wasting my own time, which is most of when I'm playing this game. But like, it was still just ultimately uninteresting as far as that goes. And but what I mean by that comment just now is like, I'm literally sometimes just got a podcast in running around, not doing anything. You know, like I'm literally wasting my time with it. And that's fine. The game's great for that shit.
Yeah, and I think for me, like, I like that I don't have to focus too hard on it. You know, like it's very light. Get away from me. Get away from me! Get away from me!
Just hit him!
I have to kill 2 of them with kunai.
Oh.
Nope, not gonna get that. But I'm totally gonna get the platinum just because this game's just so peaceful. That's not...
Yeah, I could get that. Like, I beat the narrative, and I'm still just going through side quests and stuff that I didn't care to beat before, and like, I'm digging that shit more than I dig the main plot.
I think,
I wish too. That I do think the Mythic Tales especially are way better than the main plot.
Yeah. I agree.
Those are pretty solid. By far the best part of the game, in my opinion, is the one where you're searching for the 6 different samurai just for your duels. Mm-hmm. Like, that shit was cool.
That shit was so cool, yeah. And it was so perfect for the environment, like the mystical environments. Oh, son of a bitch. They actually lend to that. Like, it doesn't make sense anywhere else where someone's just sitting there waiting on you, but here it's like, okay, that's some real samurai shit. That's cool as hell.
Yeah.
I wish I mentioned this earlier. My favorite mission in the game, what really, I don't know, it's my ignorance that makes me like this game. It's because I didn't know that haikus didn't exist. I didn't understand that, like, you know, samurais as we think of them didn't really exist yet. Like, I totally thought they were just like, we must die with honor to the Mongols, like in the first, you know, historical strike. Like, with all of that understanding, I had, like, really enjoyed it. Shit, I totally lost my train of thought. I'm gonna do this completely stealth. This is how good I am.
Just like Sly Cooper.
Just like Sly would do it, boy. Alright, I lied.
I do like that shit.
Alright, I'm not gonna do it that way. Oh, I keep hitting the wrong button. That's my problem. I meant to go into slaughter mode.
Yeah, I got those mixed up quite a bit.
I don't even have my sword out. Who cares? You coming at me, boy? Kujiyama dodge you, boy.
Yeah, I don't know if you have some other...
Okay, I'm sorry. I remember now. My favorite mission. My favorite mission was the first Mystic Tale I did. And my impression was that, like, this was almost the end of Samurai because, like, so many died in Tsushima. Where is he? There he is. Was the mission where you're learning the Swift Strike, whatever triangle circle is, you know?
Yeah.
Where it was like this handed-down technique that only a certain family knew. And in the mission, you're, like, following the family, and some dude is following them too, and, like, literally killing everyone in his path. Mm-hmm. And you literally get to the last family member, and he's like, I taught him the technique. And then you fight him to learn the technique. Mm-hmm. I was like, dude, that's so samurai. That's so sick.
Yeah, it's fun. It feels cool. And especially in the Mythic Tales ones, they did so many, like, just really cool looking environments for your duels. I didn't think the main story missions didn't do that very much.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of a lot of what I wanted is just really pretty backdrops to just samurai duels.
I get that.
And the Mythic Tales give you that way more than the main plot does.
I think for me...
Which that is on me. I do wish that I did more of the side stuff alongside the main story. I kind of accidentally marathoned through the plot. I didn't realize I was like almost beating the game whenever I was beating the game. I thought I was still in the first like quarter, first half or something.
Yeah, see, like for me, I was just like digging right into it, and I wonder if like that was part of it, because like I don't know, like it wasn't that I was in love with the characters, but I did kind of like them. They weren't as good as the people in The Last of Us 2, for sure.
And there's no reason to make the connection between those two games as far as the narrative stuff goes. It's just hard not to with them being so close.
They are PS4 exclusives.
Yep, true. That is true. But Last of Us, Last of Us. That's what the game does. That's its thing. So of course it's going to be very arguably successful in that, more so than this game was.
Yeah. And like the thing was, I don't know. I expected a Sucker Punch game. Like I'm a big fan of the Infamous games.
I think they're fine, but I don't love those either. So
I liked them at the time, and I'm a big fan of Sly Cooper, even though this game is nothing like Sly Cooper.
Sly Cooper is by far my favorite Sucker Punch game.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that. They probably.
I mean, that game's great.
They're
man.
so
Sly
good.
Cooper is amazing.
They have like the best art style, and they're so fun, dude. Like I remember like the fourth one, like the time traveling one, was so freaking good. Why am I so bad at this game?
Go to your spear stance and just mash triangle. You'll win.
No, this game is hard, Sam. This is a skilled game.
It's not easy.
It's a skilled game for skilled gamers only.
It's not an easy game. And I do want to just kind of reiterate what I said towards the beginning of everything. I'm sure I'm coming across and sounding harsher than I kind of actually am. I don't dislike the story. I don't dislike the characters. I just think that they're serviceable and not much more. Like, I think they're serviceable to good.
I think your one complaint that I totally agree with is that almost everything in the game just services Jen. And like a lot of reviewers that I was reading were like, oh, the world looks lived in, and it's not just about what you're doing like every other open world game. Yeah, it is, dude. What do you mean?
No, yeah, but any like games critic that I follow that I respect their opinions on are in line with kind of what we're saying as far as that goes.
Not me.
Sorry. The world was. Oh yeah. I'll need to point you to some good games critics then. Like us here at Headcanon.
Yeah, that's right. We are good.
But the game. So that was an interesting thing as far as the world is. Like, it's gorgeous and like it's such pretty landscapes, but everything that is not part of the landscape feels very empty, feels very much like a video game.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll tell you this, I was very forgiving of a lot of it because Sucker Punch is, as you know, used to making open world games where projectiles are like the biggest focus. So like to switch to this like sword fighting game, it kind of makes sense that there's not like a lock-on system and all that, because like the other games, melee combat was like a side thing. It was like how archery is in this game. Like, honestly, it had less of a focus than archery does.
Yeah,
Sorry, Horsey.
I can get the argument for not having a lock-on because the game has such a focus around group fighting. And like once you get used to it, it's not that bad. I just don't think they did I don't know. It wasn't super well done.
I think your problem,
especially with the camera.
I think your problem was the samurai drone. I think it took you out of the element, and it was just like it just killed it.
That's unironically my favorite part of the game.
I hate that. Every time I've used it, I'm like, oh, this is so not samurai. Kurosawa would be disgusted if he saw what I was doing.
Alex, this game is nothing. This game is not
Listen to me, Sam. Kurosawa's estate approved this game, and they said, actually, can you just call it Ghost of Kurosawa?
And also, how much are you paying us? Also, just to reiterate, just for anyone listening, I am fully aware that Kurosawa was not a historically accurate samurai depiction either. That's not my issue as far as comparing it to Kurosawa. My issue there is tone, and the game, like, tonally and directorial-wise, cinematography-wise, does not.
And that was the number one selling point. Like, that was the number one thing they reached for in every interview, was like, it's just like a Kurosawa film.
Right. And it's just such a weird draw, and I don't know how genuine that was, and if it is really genuine, they really genuinely thought they were doing that.
That's just sad, man.
I think they failed on as far as that goes. They came closer than a lot of companies would, probably.
I gotta agree, man.
We don't know.
I agree.
But
I think you're totally right. I think like it does come off as just like, oh look, the Western studio is slapping the name that all the Westerners will recognize on it. Even though Westerners don't really know what Kurosawa is to begin with, they just know, oh, black and white samurai thing.
Yeah, and I don't claim to be some savant on Kurosawa's films. I've seen, I think, all of them, so I'm relatively familiar. But it's not like I'm some dude studying all of his films.
I agree. Yeah, you're not saying you are. You're not acting like the authority on it. But like, I agree. Like I was reading about it, and I remember thinking like, oh, I should check out some Kurosawa movies after playing this game because like I thought it was kind of cool. But like, I did kind of look up some things with Kurosawa, and it's I can see what you mean. How like a lot of the, like I would say like the nuance of those movies is kind of missed on this. Like.
I would argue that the first Way of the Samurai game is closer than this is.
I'd agree.
Taking the silliness out of the first Way of the Samurai, because obviously that was a very comedic game.
Yeah.
But it had its serious moments too. Man, I think something that makes me really harsh on this, and I think I kind of mentioned earlier, is just what I wanted going into this game was totally so different than what it is, and what I wanted was going to be maybe what I got from what they were advertising it. But really, I just wanted a big budget Way of the Samurai game. That's all I want.
Honestly, like I honestly thought it was going to be like a Tenchu game. That was my expectations going.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And I mean, it's like Tenchu for it's like Fisher Price Tenchu.
I mean, in so much of like the the early game trailers, they made it look like you just had this choice to either go in and sword fight, or if you didn't want to deal with learning the mechanics there because it's very complex and difficult, then you have the stealth option you can take. And that's not what the game was, man.
No,
the game was both, and that's fine. I wish that they advertised the game to be what it is.
The game is like a cute stealth game with funny stealth mechanics that largely is all about like taking the towers or taking bases, and that's it. Like the duels, man, I kind of agree. Like if they do a DLC, which rumor mill seems to be saying there's probably going to be a DLC, they've got to...
There's going to be more.
Yeah. It's got to be only focused on like mostly duels, because like if they're just like, oh, clear these bases with taller buildings, I would probably not even try it. Like I would just not care.
Yeah.
Like one thing I notice is the guts of Infamous are in this game very slightly. I can notice things.
I mean, this game feels like a Sucker Punch game.
It does.
Like it. Yeah.
But like,
but are you referring to specifics?
Every time you walk on a wire, it's the exact animation from Second Son. The exact same.
Yeah, that I can see that. Yeah.
Hey, do you think we can kill these legendary birds?
I don't know.
I killed an owl earlier, but you weren't watching.
I saw you kill a bird. Yeah.
That was cool. I didn't think I could do that.
You love killing animals. I
just like shocking you, Sam. If you were just like, ha, that's dumb. Anyway, I wouldn't do it anymore.
I literally didn't say anything, and now you're bringing it back up.
No, you were just like, stop.
You heard me throw off screen.
Like,
or throw up off screen.
Stop it! Stop!
Jin, Lord Jin Sakai, please come save me.
Your uncle was right about you. So, I will say one thing that I really, really, really pissed me off about this game. Really, really made me mad. Mm-hmm. So, like, the first time I went to Komoda Town, I put my mask on, and literally nobody in the city was wearing masks. Like, everybody and their mother wasn't wearing masks, and it's just like they didn't care. You get it?
Uh-huh.
You get it?
Yeah.
You get it?
Anyways, what's our runtime here?
God, so mean.
Yeah, we probably should make some any closing comments you want to make?
I was trying
to
make a joke, but somebody...
Oh, yeah, you tried. I noticed you tried.
Oh, my goodness.
So, yeah.
I've been thinking of that...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I mentioned everything I was wanting to say.
I've been thinking of that joke for weeks, and I was like, dude, I can't wait to say it in the Ghost podcast. It's going to be so funny.
Oh, I wanted you to say that doing the samurai drone was cheating.
Doing the samurai drone is cheating, Sam.
No, it's not.
If there was
it's like EA. It's in the game.
No, if this was a speed run, that would 100% be not allowed. 100%. The judges would be like, no, No, dude.
No. Get out.
Get out, dude.
But yeah.
Anyway, the correct opinion on this game is that it's a very original narrative tale of a samurai leaving his honor in the dust and constantly arguing with himself. Do I poison them? Do I not? Do I let my home go to the Mongols?
It's a really good introspective character study of your upbringing and having to face different choices. Also, it's really told super well.
Yeah, and the character development was like crazy, dude. There was so much character development. Like at the beginning of the game, Misako was one person. She was this lady who wants revenge. Oh, look. One thing I do want to say, this game is a detective game. There's so much detective stuff. Like,
yeah, all the examine the camp, and we don't proceed to tell the next part of the story unless you look at every fish that's in this area.
Hey Sam, do you ever walk like this? Do you ever just take like one step every inch? Because I can guarantee you the steps always look like this, and it's always like one dude. I'm like, why is he? What is he dancing down the street? Like, what is he doing?
I think it's my own impatience, but a lot of these parts of the games where you just had to like find tracks or something, I could not find that shit, and I would just get so annoyed. And I think it's just because I wanted to just be like, point me in the direction to go. I don't want to examine the floor of this wet ground.
That's so funny. Like, I had no... Like, I really was into this game. Like, I was like, oh, I must examine the footprints like a real samurai. I must follow... Guide me with my father's wind. Tell me where to go. Like, I was totally into it. Just like every white boy who has no idea about real Western or real Eastern culture would be playing this. Like, I was totally that horrible trope, and I'm not sorry.
I mean, it's fun.
I'm not sorry. I do it again. It was made by Westerners for Westerners.
Yeah. I mean, not. It's arguable, but I don't get it.
Hold on.
It's just this very romanticized version, which is fine. That's not inherently a bad thing or anything. It's sometimes borderline like fetishized with how every other conversation of the game is about honor. Like, man, you don't have to constantly say it every 30 seconds.
But that's how samurais talk back in the... You see, Sam, back in the day, samurais would just talk about like, hey man, I was thinking about doing some hookers and blow, but then I was like, that's not honorable. I can't do that. And then it was like, oh, you're right. I struggle with it every day, dude.
It's true.
Oh, I can't talk right now. Serious time. God damn!
Dude, do you ever win those?
Yes, I win them all the time.
Is it? Do you? Because I've seen a lot where you have.
I'm good at this game. I beat it myself. I didn't even have to get my mommy or daddy to beat it for me, dude.
The game's not easy, though. Towards the end, those standoffs do get quite a bit harder.
God, if you're playing on lethal, I bet they're very hard.
Yeah.
I would get mad sometimes because I would walk into a duel with, like, no resolve, and I'd have to actually, like, get good at the game. Because otherwise, if I'm in a duel... I would play it, like, good, but then eventually I'd be like, L1R1, L1R1, like, I just want this to be over, and I would just cut through them with all the samurai powers. Sorry. I'm sorry, pup.
Something that's a weird choice about the duels in the resolve system is, like, your first try if you have full resolve, but expend all that resolve, then your second try, you're not going to have that resolve back.
Do not remind me.
Like, I still start off with none.
I would get...
It's so strange.
I got so mad at that crap.
That last boss took me forever, honestly.
Yeah, Shimura's it was a good fight. And it
was good, though.
My favorite part of the fight, he's the only one in the whole game that doesn't stab you while you're down. He just, like, apologizes.
Yeah. One time, I should have recorded it, but one time he got caught in a loop where he was just jogging in place.
I would have put it in right here if you did.
Well, all right, man. It's probably been about an hour.
Yeah, it has been. And it's kind of like you said, there's not a lot to say about this game, but would you recommend it?
Yeah, it's a good game.
I think it's a really good game.
It's not great. Just a lot of talk around it that I don't quite get, but it's fine.
I think people throw around the word masterpiece all the time. Like a lot of people are like, you think The Last of Us 2 is a masterpiece? Then you're going to love Ghost of Tsushima. And it's like, no. Ghost is just a good video game. Yeah. Like Ghost doesn't bend the genre. It doesn't do anything new. If like
yeah.
I remember like
exactly. It's a video game as video game.
Yeah,
that's all it's really trying to be. It seems, and I don't quite get people viewing it as much more, but that's fine. I'm not gonna criticize people for liking a thing.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I agree.
But it's good. Yes, I do recommend it.
Yeah, me too. I think it's a very good video game, but that's about it. Archer versus Archer. All right, bro.
All right, man. I guess we'll convene next time.
Thanks for watching me play.
Yeah, good swordsmanship.
Shut up, dude.
Mm-hmm. Don't rub it
really
in. Impressive.
Shut the hell up. I will come over there and show you my swordman skills.
Okay, bye.
Alright. Bye. Thanks for listening, everybody.